Well, there's been a lot of speculation when it comes to College Football 25, the video game. When is it coming out? Who will be in it? And we do have some potential images that were leaked as part of the pre-alpha. And this is of Missouri's home field. A lot of people reacting to this. Good to see images. Good to see a college football video game coming out. And you can just take a look. That is Missouri's field. I'm guessing if you request it, this was requested via some type of law, and they had to disclose these images. But this is the pre-alpha, so they've come out and said, no, the field actually looks a lot better than this. This is just the first kind of renderings that we have of College Football 25 in a leaked version. We also do have, will College Football 25 just be a reskinned version of Madden 24? They're saying it doesn't appear to be the case. Well, partially, yeah, it's going to run on the same engine, but they're saying there's going to be major differences. When it comes to a game like this, whether it runs on the same engine or not, the key factor to me that's going to give us a much better presentation when it comes to this college football video game is the presentation of the game, the scoreboard. Apparently, ESPN will be involved in this game, which is great. I would also love to see the NBC scoreboard, the Fox scoreboard, if it's a big noon game. That's what really is going to make this as realistic as possible of an experience rather than just having a random scoreboard that's made up in a graphics package by the developers of this game, like they do now with Madden. That's why Madden is so unrealistic, and I think that's going to be the case when we talk later in this video. They're saying that the announcer team, Herb Street Fowler, maybe that is a deal with ESPN to where ESPN scoreboard will be in this game. If you look at the newer versions of NCAA 14, they do have an updated ESPN scoreboard, and it just makes the game look so much better. The presentation is amazing. So when it comes to this game, it's not going to be completely reskinned, but the game in general is so much different. You've got recruiting, you've got the transfer portal, you've got less games, a different playoff format. It's all customizable, apparently, and it's going to give us so many different options and so many different cool simulations that we can do. What could we do? A 24-team FCS-style playoff with FBS teams? Could we even go to 48 teams? Do stuff like that. Maybe make everyone independent, realign the conferences any way we want. That is why this game is going to be so great. We haven't had something like this in about a decade. And then you do have all FBS teams will be in the game with their 2024 uniforms. That would be ridiculous if a team opted out. Obviously, we knew that was going to happen. College football realignment features. You can do a million different things. You can have a million different ideas when it comes to that. I'm already thinking about different conferences I could potentially make, redesigning college football and really weighting the conferences properly, and also maybe make just some cool random conferences where, let's just say, Ohio State and Yale are in the same conference. It's just different customizable things like that that's going to be good for us when it comes to this video game. 12-team college football playoff with the ability to customize. You could make an 8-team playoff, I'm guessing. You could do a 16-team playoff. You could do a 14-team playoff. It's already basically been confirmed that they are expanding to a 14-team playoff in the year 2026. Every bowl game will be in it, which is cool. That just adds another realistic factor to it. If you're bringing up a team like Boston College, maybe you're trying to go 7-5 and get into the Fenway Bowl or something. It's a cool thing to see. And also, what about the Fenway Bowl with Fenway Park as a football stadium in a video game? Imagine if you could have Fenway Park as your home stadium. If you're Boston College, that would be hilarious. Have Wrigley as your home stadium if you are Northwestern. No, apparently Ryan Field, which is currently getting demolished. I saw a recent photo of it, home of Northwestern. That's gonna be in the video game for 2025, even though it's not realistic. Northwestern will be playing their home games probably at a soccer stadium, an MLS stadium, and also Fenway Park. Maybe as well Soldier Field, home of the Chicago Bears. Dynasty and Road to the Glory modes return with NIL components. So NIL it's going to be interesting to see how they incorporate it. I can definitely see some very frustrating factors of NIL depending on how crazy they make it in this game. And what I'm going to reference is the Kaden Proctor situation. Now, NIL has, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Kaden Proctor Everyone thought he was going to go to Iowa. He's from Iowa. He's a 5-star offensive tackle. He commits to Alabama. He plays as a true freshman, develops, struggles, but develops. And then Nick Saban retires. Kaden Proctor immediately transfers, hits the portal, goes to Iowa. We all think it's a done deal. Well, no. Kaden Proctor apparently has transferred back to Alabama before even playing a snap at Iowa. So it's just so clownish, and the question now is, it's like, what if Kaden Proctor has a bad practice at Alabama? Is he just going to transfer? I'm kidding, but it's kind of just so stupid. That's going to be an interesting component when it comes to NIL. Could you attract a player in the portal, a 5-star player, and then he just leaves your program 2 weeks later because someone recruits him? I mean, is that how ridiculous it's? I don't think that's how they're going to make this game, but it could be very frustrating. Real life coaches not in the game. Very annoying that that's the case. I'm sorry, but come on. And I know we're getting the game. We're all very happy, but we want the coaches to be in the game as well. The game will run on the same engine as Madden, but it will have tweaks. I already went over that. And then when it comes to an update on the players opting in versus opting out, the only notable one at this point that we know that's not going to be in the game is Arch Manning, which admittedly is very frustrating because we're going to be playing games in years. They're going to be simulated. Arch Manning is very highly regarded. And apparently you're not even going to be able to edit his name. They've got it blacklisted, so you're going to have to name him something similar to Arch Manning, which is just an annoying, unrealistic thing. But if he's one of the only players, it is what it is. I'm sure there's going to be a few other players. Well, actually, I don't know. We'll see. But you would think with the amount of, college football players that there are, Arch Manning would not literally be the only player, but I would guess the only players that would opt out of this game would be players that have the leverage and the ability to do it like Arch Manning, where he really doesn't need the $500 or $600, whatever they were going to get paid. So it could be another superstar. I mean, if this game came out last year, I'm very confident Caleb Williams would have opted out and it would have been a big story. And then here's the confirmation that ESPN will be in the video game for 2025. ESPN's top college football commentary team and some of the members of College Game Day will have roles. So you have to also think if they've got a deal, they're going to be having their broadcast the same graphics, which is going to make it very realistic, which is pretty cool. EA Sports will be released in the summer of 2024. The question is, what month does it come out? I know people are speculating mid-July. I wish it came out in June, honestly, but probably mid-July. They're also saying maybe it's early August. It just depends, I guess. But I would say at this point, likely mid-July when it comes to the release of this video game. Another thing that people are talking about, who will be on the cover. I'm sure if this game, again, was released last year, it would probably be Caleb Williams. At that point, he was coming off of a Heisman. But this year, I really just don't see a cover-worthy player. Now, when you look at the different sports, there have been some odd cover choices like Jazz Chisholm, MLB The Show a few years ago, but I think they're going to go with Saban. It just makes sense because he just retired. The game just came back after a long hiatus. I guess the idea of a head coach being on the cover people don't really like, but because it is kind of a weird circumstance where the game didn't exist for the past decade, I'm guessing they do go with Saban. There is also the speculation maybe they make Saban the GOAT edition or something, or an exclusive edition, and they go with all the Heisman winners, the past 10 Heisman winners who obviously never got a chance to be on the cover because the game didn't exist the past 10 years. That could also be an option, but I highly doubt they're going to do any single player. Like Quinn Ewers just doesn't make sense. Jackson Dart is not good enough. He's not cover worthy. Shedeur Sanders went 4-8 last year. It's just not going to happen for those players. So I think it's either going to be Saban, probably Saban, or they might make Saban the legendary edition or something and go with all of the Heisman winners over the past decade to be on the cover. It would be kind of cluttered, but it's understandable if they do something like that. So that is going to do it for the latest intel we have. I would imagine more and more people are going to start requesting photographs from EA on certain stadiums, but I would caution people, they're probably only releasing the pre-alpha images. Either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.